going to be moving to the next panel session. We've eaten into their time with about 2 minutes. This panel session is going to be for educators, and it's on the topic of managing online education and fun. I, for one, am going to be listening in keenly. Why? Because I mentioned my nephew just now. I found that him having to do some courses on Telegram exposed him to some things that were not healthy for his age. And there was no way, there was nothing else we could do because he just had to go on Telegram. Maybe we could learn here how we can, maybe there are some things we can do when the child is on Telegram, because we found out from him that the things he was exposed to were popping up during their school learning session. It just pops up and they click on it. So I don't know what we can learn from it. And on our panel today, I have Okenifun Ajayi. Okenifun Ajayi. I have Kenneth Mims, Lessie Longstreet, and Titi Adewusi. Titi Adewusi. Okenifun Ajayi is an experienced and hugely certified evidence-based educational entrepreneur and startup business consultant. And Kenneth Mims is joining us from Phoenix, Arizona. He's a professional STEM educator. He's been one for over 20 years, teaching courses in robotics, computer programming, and physical science. He is founder and CEO of Neurodiversity Education Research Center. And also we have Lessie Longstreet. She's based in the US. She's a global director of outreach and partner engagement for the Cyber Readiness Institute. She has worked as a chief of staff and interim director of marketing for a cyber security startup as a NISOS. And Mrs. Titi Adewusi, she's co-founder Niger Kids, an edutech company founded by 3 Nigerian sisters. She has BSc in mechanical engineering and is an experienced business and management consultant with over 18 years experience. Moderating this panel session today is Mr. Rotimi Eyitayo. He's a seasoned management consultant with core expertise in business development, process improvement, and management, and is popularly known as a rare content development strategist. So we have 25 minutes for this session. I'm handing over to Mr. Rotimi. Good morning, panelists. You're all welcome. Thank you for joining us. Please you can just wait so we know you can hear us. And yeah. Good morning, Titi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you can
I'm handing over to Mr. Rotimi. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you, our panelists. Thank you, Titi. Thank you, Lessie. And thank you. I'm seeing a different name on the name of the panelists. I think Joy. All right. So
that's Kenneth Mims. And that's Kenneth Mims. I don't know why the name is showing Joy Ebunwa.
Oh, sorry.
But that's Kenneth Mims.
All right, Kenneth, thank you for joining. Thank you very much. And so we'll go straight to this panel session now. And basically, we're just going to be looking at some key things, being that it's a panel on education. I'll start with Kenneth. And the question I'm going to ask is, you run a school for children with autism, and during the pandemic, you still had your sessions. How did you ensure the safety of your students? I'd like Kenneth to take the floor now.
Okay, thank you so much. And I apologize again for the name error. I'll update that as soon as possible. But that's a great question as far as our students are neurodiverse. They have autism or learning disability. Specifically, this particular learning disability or disability autism deals with social and emotional. It's a social emotional disability. So just understanding social settings, social norms, social expectations, something they call theory of mind, which is understanding others' perspectives socially and emotionally. Transitioning online, I was highly concerned about, that our students would be able to transition into that state and that they wouldn't have really be traumatized from that experience and be overwhelmed. One thing that we did from the beginning is that we really just took time to properly train our students. So we spent about 2 weeks just not diving into the curriculum and the content, the digital curriculum and content, but really diving into the digital platform. So we spent about a week or two introducing and reviewing. We transitioned to Google Classroom. We spent that time just logging in, using documents, opening documents, creating documents, sharing documents. We also spent time outside of actual Google Classroom, which is more like the platform as far as like the digital schoolhouse. But we also have a digital curriculum, which is the actual content for the math, science, language arts, those type of things. So we had to spend time with that digital curriculum, and just being patient with going through learning, but then also going through being assessed. Being assessed virtually is a whole different thing as well. Quizzes, tests, those type of things. And we were just really patient with the students. We did have to make some modifications as far as reduction in time to our standard day, and then even we made a reduction in our week. So we reduced it from 5 days a week to 4 days a week, because we noticed that there was a degree of fatigue for our students, and we were concerned about burnout and just fatigue from being on screen time. So we had to take that in consideration as far as screen time. But one thing that we did do towards the end of the year over a period of time is that we started to transition back into the school building once every 2 weeks, just to touch base and to slowly integrate our students and keep an eye on them. And then one last thing I would like to also say is that dealing with COVID and is just dealing with learning online, we noticed that there was an aspect of mental health. So we did actually integrate a counselor into supporting the parents, but supporting the students. And it has been challenging to do that, but we really became more empathetic with our families and with our students, really just, going deeper into just understanding, what students are going through and what families are going through, which overall just helped us grow. And we look forward to returning back to in class, but we still will remain using our digital curriculum inside of the school building.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm going to go straight over to Titi. Titi, can you hear me, Titi?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic. All right, so you run an edtech company and produce games for children, especially online entertainment as well. Now, when we talk about online entertainment, we know that it's one of those areas or ways or mediums where predators try to get children. What are the practical tips that you have to share with parents to manage this reality?
Okay. I like what Kenneth said. And, the first thing is that you always have to do this from the child's perspective. I think a lot of the mistakes that people initially made when COVID started is that we immediately wanting to do the same things we were doing, but using new tools. So any school that didn't, first of all, spend that time, taking the children through the new tools will find that they were very frustrated and not very effective. And then when you want to do things with the same amount of time in the same way, you just, hit a lot of roadblocks and a lot of frustrations. And that's a lot of what happened in 2020. But I would want to start by saying kudos to all the educators out there that survived, that survived teaching, and all the schools that survived teaching, and just pushing on day after day. So kudos to everyone. And even the parents, I think we need to pat ourselves on the back as well. It was just it was something else. But one of the things that we took away from the pandemic is the fact that children learn in different ways. We took the fact that online is tough. Online can be very boring. It's harder to engage because we can, get away with a lot of things. Your children can get away with watching a YouTube video while they're actually in class and just do all sorts of gimmicks because there are more ways to get distracted. So the main challenge is, how do we keep them engaged? And one of the two tips that I find that is very effective is using a lot of online resources. I mean, this summit had us doing polls. You can find out that, when you do polls, you see the level of engagement goes up because I'm more involved. It's not about you talking to me. The second thing that, happened was when she asked the question and people had to, put in an answer to get a gift. You saw the amount of engagement that went on in the chat. So these are just to show that a lot more engagement is needed when you do online. I mean, I know how many of us go for webinars and we are bored, especially when the webinars don't allow us to see the faces of other people, things that can distract us or engage us during the session. So that's the same way with children, and they even have shorter attention span. So one of the things that we need to do is, how do we engage them? How do we tweak the lessons? What do we need to tweak? What are flexibilities that we need to put in place that we might engage them? So using polls is easily one of those ways. Doing various things, like instead of having them to do their homework at home, just putting up the homework there, getting them to take pictures and just post the pictures, are all the things that you can just do to engage them. And the important thing is to engage them. So instead of doing, having hard copy worksheets, using interactive sheets there on the screen, and just getting them to do other things, doing scavenger hunts, that makes the children go and get, okay, so we're talking about we're talking about fractions. Go and get something that shows fraction in your house. Then all the kids, scooter off to get things done. So gaming is one of the things that we can put, to make engagement more doing online. And it is, I'll just set some of the examples of what was done here. When you ask a question, when you're going to give prizes, when you're going to give badges, when you get the children to walk away, when you get them to do other things. So you can imagine that if I have an assignment for them and I say, everybody put in a short rap. Everybody just send a short rap, a short voice rap, of what you've learned. So suddenly it's like, okay, what can I do? What kind of rap can I talk about? Safety is this, and safety is that. So engagement is so key when it comes to online learning. You can use games, you can use various activities. It's really based on your audience, and it's important that you look for ways to engage them. I'll also say the last tip is try not to do things too long. That was another thing that Kenneth also had confirmed. Instead of the longer classes, you have to realize that you need those breaks. So instead of something that would have been a 40 minutes class, it might just end up being 15 minutes so that you can do something engaging that gets them moving and get them engaged. So those are some of the few tips I would just put out there.
Okay, thank you so much. I actually like the fact that you're able to marry the aspect of engagement, and I like the rap element. I thought you were going to complete the rap actually. Okay, so let's get over to Lessie. Lessie, now you're ready. I'm going to ask you this question. The Cyber Readiness Institute has done quite a lot and quite a fantastic work with providing cybersecurity solutions to businesses, schools as well. But I'm sure you know that schools have been forced to consider online learning and reality due to the pandemic and the shifting tech space. What is your advice to protect their systems? Over to you.
Okay, thank you. So my advice for schools to protect their system is it really comes down to human behavior. Schools should really focus on educating their workforce. And this has been a theme throughout this entire conference is education and awareness. There's 4 core issues that I really think that schools should educate not only their teachers, but their students on. And a couple of these have been mentioned already, but passwords, software updates, phishing, and USB and removable media use. All of these things can really help if kids, students, teachers, everyone are educated on these core 4 issues, can really solve not 90% of cybersecurity issues, but again, it all comes down to human behavior. So embedding cyber readiness in everything, starting from just education and creating policies that help educate people on passwords, software updates, phishing, and USB and removable media use are really key. Creating a culture of cyber readiness is absolutely important. And then with these policies, I know it has been mentioned a couple of times already that it's not just creating the policy and having it there. It's creating a policy that is actually going to work and you can implement that policy. There's a lot of ways to create a policy and then it might not work for a certain group of people because let's say they have to use USB and removable media. Because it is critical to whatever project they're working on. If you say absolutely no USBs can be used, people are going to find ways to work around that. So make sure whenever you're creating policies for whether it's yourself, your students, or your larger organization or your school, that you're talking with your employees, kids, what have you, about what is going to work best for them.
Leslie, could you just quickly run through the 4 points again, the 4 areas you shared?
Sure.
Yes, just the 4.
So it's passwords. Make sure you're having long, complex passwords or passphrases. That's about 12 characters, 12 to 15 characters. Software updates. That is absolutely critical. It will protect against ransomware, phishing, so on and so forth. Phishing is the 3rd one. Don't click on links. That's already been mentioned a couple of times, but that is one of the biggest issues that we have. Don't open random documents that are sent to you. Just make sure you're aware of who those emails are coming from. Don't send information out to people that you don't know. And then the 4th one is USB and removable media use. USBs and removable media can have malicious software downloaded on them. And if you connect that to your device or plug it into your device, you could potentially infect your device.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate, especially the fact that you talked about policies, making sure that policies are functional, not just policies that are issued out there for people to just go into. Thank you very much for that. And this takes me back to Kenneth, right? I'm going to ask you this question, Kenneth. What would you consider almost like your final tip to parents and educators, when you talk about parents who are working with children or educators working with children with special needs? What would be your counsel to them?
That's a great question. Well, the conversation changed over time. Initially, it was just a slow transition, being patient with children. I guess if this is first time, you're introducing the digital online learning environment. Some kids really love it, but some kids struggle with it. So speaking with parents, we were really advocated for parents to designate a space in the home, a consistent space in the home, a desk in the kids' bedroom, a chair. Um, we actually provided laptops for our students, so that wasn't an issue. But just having a clean, designated space, consistent, so students would have that routine, that structure. But also, we communicated the expectation to parents of monitoring their students, which for some parents, they had to work, so that really wasn't something that they could do. But even still, parents who were working, they still were taking responsibility of their kids being online, meaning, if there was an issue, they would call the child. So if we had, so operating a school online is really challenging. So if we had a student that wasn't online at a designated time, or they weren't online, like they weren't at class, like they were tardy or late, we would immediately call the parent or text the parent. So the parents would have to dialogue and reach out to the student. So just getting that support of the parent, was very important. From a whole different aspect, again, as far as different aspect as far as academics, we really had to transition, and this is something new for schools to some degree, as far as really taking the responsibility of being empathetic to students and families, and to what degree. So the mental health thing really was strong for our students and our families. And for everybody in general in the community, but being in the home, being school in the home, and and we're now in families' homes. It just took it to a whole nother degree. So we had to be patient with parents and kind of open the door for parents to communicate what's going on. Particularly with COVID, some families were dealing with deaths directly, indirectly, and we had to be patient with that. But just keeping an eye on that, and just opening up that line of communication with the parents, and then with the students, and making adjustments. So that those are some of the key things that we try to communicate to our parents.
Thank you so much. And let me just head over back to Titi. So what makes you, or what mistake do you see, Titi? What mistakes do you see parents, right, make, and how can this be avoided, especially with the subject matter we're talking about?
I think what people have said it. I think the first thing is, once your child is using a device and is going to be online, the first thing is education and awareness. You must be doing that. You'll be amazed if you don't do that. You'll be amazed at what they already know. So I'm surprised that even something as playing a game, my son is talking with people from all over the world. He's playing a game. So you have to ask, does he know the basic rules? Can you use your real name? Some of the things that has already been said. So if you are a parent and you're listening to this, as long as your child uses a device, he doesn't have to own the device. I think that's some of the mistakes parents make. They forget that their child can take a brother's device, an uncle's device, a cousin's device, a friend's device. You need to have rules that are ingrained in them. I remember I was having a chat with my children. I was talking to them about pornography. I asked them, do you know what that is? And they said they don't know what that is. And I sat them down and explained what pornography was. And the next thing, my son says, yes, that has happened to him, where he was online and someone asked him to send him nude pictures of himself. Another child of mine says that yes, he remembers seeing nude photos on someone else's phone. So I'm just giving these examples to let you know that it doesn't even have to be that it's your device, because some parents feel that once I have the, all the security on their device, then my kids are safe. But that's not it. Education awareness is so key. You need to let them know. You need to be regularly checking on these things to ensure they remember the rules, they adhere to the rules, or what it means to be, and why they need to be safe online. So I think that is so important. And it's also important that as the school also exposes your children online, that they themselves have put in place all the relevant securities to do that. I mean, during last year, we had a lot of Zoom bombing, where people from all sorts of places taking over the Zoom meetings, putting all sorts of inappropriate content. And a lot of that happened because, one, the teacher who is coordinating is also not familiar with how to use Zoom and the restrictions that they need to do. So it's also important that parents are aware that they also need to be aware of parents of the resources and tools being used and how they can also protect their children. So you can't just say it's only their devices. I will keep saying that you need to be aware of all that's happening. It's important that parents attend summits like this that keep on opening your mind to the new things that are happening. If your child hasn't done any safety thing, I mean, Google for Family is such a fantastic thing. You just have to be. I remember my brother-in-law told me a recent story of a child from their area that came in to their house and used his own phone and devices. And the next thing, he started getting all these inappropriate messages. He went, attacked his children and said, "Were you the one that was doing it?" And they said no. And they were able to trace it and found out that it was a child in the neighborhood. So you have to realize that your need for care and safety for your children extends beyond your immediate environment. You need to also be ensuring that all the parents are educated, the school is educated, the school is educating those parents on a constant basis. It's all our responsibility, because if you protect your own home, but the other people are not aware, they're not also ensuring that their children are educated, know that they can also in turn come and affect your own children. So that's just some of the things I would like to say.
Thank you very much, Titi. I would like to ask Lessie, I would like you to give a final tip to our viewers and also to all the participants in today's summit. What would be your final view? Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess my final tip would be that you need to understand what is most important to you and your business, whether you're an educator. So basically what's the most important to you and your students. If you are a parent, what is the most important information for you as a parent to protect? And then create your personal cyber readiness plan to make yourself, your students, your organization cyber ready. If anybody is interested, my nonprofit Cyber Readiness Institute offers a program called the Cyber Readiness Program. It is designed for businesses, but any personal person or even students, we've had high school kids go through the program as well, to create a cyber readiness plan. So you will go through the core 4 issues of how to create a strong password, how to enable auto updates on your software, the importance of not clicking on links for phishing, and USB and removable media use. The program will also walk you through how to create practical policies for these core 4 issues and also create an incident response plan. So if something happens, you know what to do after that. So I guess I would leave that as my final tip. Really get educated, decide what is most, or what the information that you most want to protect is, and come up with a practical plan and policy for that.
All right, thank you very much. It's actually been an interesting and enlightening one. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Titi. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, myself, actually. I learned a lot, especially from Titi, Titi, you stressed the part of the child's perspective, and of course, we talked about transitioning from Kenneth, dealing with COVID is actually dealing with life, and of course, from Leslie, you talked about the angle of the human behavior, educating the workforce, and most importantly, having functional policies. So I would really want to thank you once again for this time and hand over to Ugochi and the moderators to continue. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi Eyitayo, and thank you so much to every of our panelists. We can see that everybody was carried along in this session because all these issues are just things that have been bothering us in our minds one way or the other, not knowing where to ask or who to find out how to solve the problem. I think it has been the greatest issue for almost everybody. Thank you so much to every of the panelists. Unfortunately, most of them have left. I was going to ask Mr. Kenneth to just help us put highlights of the points that he gave, because most people are asking to just help us highlight it in the comment section. The points you gave, sir. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Titi. Thank you, Leslie. And okay, for this session, we are going to be asking a question in the poll. I'll hand that over to Gochi. She'll put up a question, and the fastest fingers, as usual, for the answers. Comment section as well. She's laughing. Oh, today I'm being lazy. I'm pushing everything to you. So please, we need the polls to keep popping. Fastest fingers, help us answer.
Okay, so the poll, the poll is on, but while the poll is also on, I'll just like to say a big thank you to our amazing education panel. We're just dropping it like it's hot, you know, and
Yes.
so something Mrs. Adewusi mentioned, which is the fact that you might think that it's just about your own children, you are protecting your own children, but then you are forgetting that other children can also influence your children. They can see those things on their devices. And that's why we need to advocate for more people getting involved. So it's not just about your own child. It's about everybody. It's about the music industry playing their part. It's about the government playing their part. It's about the schools playing their part. It's about you, the parent, playing your part. It's about our places of worship playing their part. So we need all stakeholders to work together, because otherwise you can do so well with your own child, but when your own child is thrown into a den of, you know, it becomes a problem. So it's really important that we think holistically when we're talking about these issues and putting strategies to address it. So it's not just about your children. And the question for this stage to get our gifts would be, the speakers have shared various highlights, right? So I want you to share with us what's your own major light bulb moment from the conversation that has happened here today. What are you going to implement right away, either with your children or with your students in school? Please drop it for us in the comment section. And as you're responding, please also bear in mind that our team members will be reaching out to those of you who have answered correctly to get your email addresses so that we can get in touch with you. Okay, so please drop that for me in the comment section. We have a lot of people who have not responded to this poll yet. Please respond to the poll as quickly as possible. So that, and for those...
And also...
Okay, go ahead.
Let me chip in. We would really appreciate if those that have answered questions so far can help us just check their DM, because we have been sending messages and our team members are letting us know that people are not responding. We need email addresses for those who have answered correctly. So please, everyone online, everyone participating presently, kindly check your DM. We just might have reached out to you to ask for your email address so that we can communicate with you after the program for concerning your gifts. I'll go to continue, please. Sorry.
Yes. So please keep dropping your light bulb moments in the comments section. Yes, I see that. Yes, keep dropping that. So a very big thank you to Lessie Longstreet for Kenneth Mims. I know it's quite early in your part of the world, but you still got up in here early to share with our audience. And the comment section on Facebook is just buzzing, like it's buzzing crazily. So thank you so much for sharing so much valuable insight, Mrs. Adewusi, Mr. Rotimi. Thank you so much. So I'll just read some of the. Lavisi says, I will apply interactive games in future online sessions with children. I will also do well to make it short. Awesome. Kalikenka says, I'll have to sit with my kids and start that conversation with them on how they can use the cyberspace safely. Awesome. I know we have safety professionals here. Also, safety professionals can also take this to their places of worship. You can take it to the various spheres of influence you have, and share this knowledge, because we need as many people as possible to hear about this. Stella says, thank you, you were wholesome. Josephine says, Leslie's four core issues, Titi's insights on gamification. I guess it's gamification you mean, not gasification. And educating the children and not just securing their own devices. Kenneth talk on educating staff and students and allowing them go through the learning curve. Awesome. Yes. Olufemi says, light bulb moment for me is approaching the issue from the child perspective, incorporating games in the process. Yes. And Mrs. Adewusi is your plug for gamified educational content. As a matter of fact, they're even having a Children's Day event coming up sometime this week. You should check her out on Instagram so that you can register. Over 1,000 children have registered. There are lots of gifts to be won. So you should take advantage of that offer. Okay, so thank you so much to everyone who is sharing their light bulb. Okay, Olushola says, oh, now you all are rushing me. The comments are moving so fast. Let me make it bigger so that I can read it properly. So Olushola says, my light bulb moments, airing out my home from the beginning, intentionally incorporating cybersecurity on the devices of my kids, and making learning fun to educate my kids about cybersecurity. Ruth mentioned it's important to take breaks during learning sessions. May Henshaw, one of our winners from last year, she's been dishing it hot in the comment section. She says, be on top of the game where online safety is concerned, explore apps that help monitor the kids online, create conducive learning environment, beef up access control at the entrance of school, promote safety consciousness. She says, drink safety, talk safety, eat safety, sleep safety. Thank you so much for that. Ifechukwu says, Titi's insight is very helpful. We'll be implementing more engagement and activities in a subsequent virtual safety club for kids. Yes, that's so true. Ifechukwu runs a virtual safety club for children. You should check her out on social media. She brings the children together, I think monthly, and they have these virtual sessions where she trains them. Yes. Ruth says, I'm creating my cyber readiness plan. Awesome. Oh, Mrs. Adewusi has put the link to the Children's Day STEAM Fun Fest. Awesome. Wura says, I love the distinction that it doesn't end with installing safety app on your kids' devices. Awesome. I think I'll just stop there for the comment section. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you all so much for participating. Mary, do you have any announcements?
Okay, comment section going, because the time slot we have for now is learning recap from the audience. So we'd appreciate if they keep sending in all that they've learned for today, just before we get towards the closing. While I'll just be announcing that, please, if you have commented, if you had answered questions, kindly check your DM. If you provided us your email address, please check your email for when we get back to you concerning the gifts that you won. Like I stated in the beginning, we have a lot of ebooks to give out. We have one or two online courses from the Safety Cheats platform to give out to winners. So we are up and running. And for me today has been very, very educating. I've really learned a lot. Please let us know. And also, as you are putting your comments, kindly let us know if you are teachers, let us know the schools you are representing. If you are parents, also let us know. And also, if possible, let us know how you got to know about the Safety School Summit. This will help us to put together next year's Safety School Summit. See me, they are not done with this year. I'm already talking about the next one. So we need this feedback so we know that what we are doing is really reaching out and cutting across the board around our country and the world over. And also, I would like to say a very big thank you to every of the panelists, DG, also the keynote speaker, keynote address speaker that I spoke earlier, Dr. Allen. I would like to say a very big thank you to everybody. Once again, my name is MC Me. I MC events ranging from birthdays, funerals, parties of any kind, and also events such as this. I could also host school programs in case you have programs for me. I'll be dropping my email in the comment section. So for those that would like to reach out to me, and also my Instagram handle. Ugochi, I don't know, is there anything you'd like to also maybe once more ask the audience so we know that they really participated and learned? And we forgot to mention, we did not check up on those that joined us from outside the country. Initially, I looked at the poll, I saw we had people from East Africa. I said those from West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, from US, from Canada. Do let us know if you are from outside Nigeria. You know, Nigerians, we represent every time. Your representation here is highly, highly noted. We thank you all so much. So Gochi, over to you. Any other question?
Awesome. So we have another comment here where Ifechuku is saying, I hope you can still hear me. I hope I'm not muted. Okay, I'm not muted. Just confirm it. Okay, so Ifechuku says, Theo's insight on risk assessment across the education cycle and value chain cannot be overemphasized. This has been an awesome session. Well done, Ugo and team. Prudence also says, thank you. Ruth says, enlightening. On Facebook here, we have educating the children. Desire Obanefe says, educating the children that online is like a sharp knife. If handled well, it is a nice tool, but if not, it can harm them. Oh my goodness. I love the way you put that together. And then someone here also says, I'm not educating children yet, but I'm going to bear this in mind so that when I have to educate children. Josephine says, I'm a parent and an online learning facilitator at the Quiver School, www.thequiverschool.com. I heard about this summit on Instagram via Okeinfo Ajayi and Ronke Posh's pages. I can't wait to be part of future programs. Definitely going to be an advocate of safety all around. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let me see if I have... Okay, yes. Thank you, Mr. Kenneth, for sharing your summary in the comment section. We've also sent it to the crew on Facebook so that it's also going to be there for them. So announcements, if you have not yet, based on your responses, the DMs will be sent to you for your gift. So please respond to those DMs, so that it can be, we can get in touch with you. Then, of course, it's very important that you download the Safety Chick Compass app. This app is such that regardless of your location, you can have access to our blog posts, our videos, our podcasts, and all information that suits the African context. So please check and try to download that from the Google Play Store. Also follow on social media at the Safety Chick on Instagram. On YouTube, it's the Safety Chick Academy. On Facebook, it's the Safety Chick. Please, it's really important that you follow closely and make sure you're on the mailing list. If you're on the mailing list, don't get off. Something is being built behind the scenes for children, and when that is ready, we're going to put it out there. So it's very important that you are part of it. And during this pandemic, myself and Titi Adewusi, Miss Adewusi of Niger Kids, we created a COVID game. It's called Safety Checkup Game. It's a very interesting game that your children can use. Again, you know, we talked about using games to teach, right? Using games to learn about safety. So I'll just be, it's the website for that is www.thesafetychick.com/safety-checkup. I'm going to put this in the comment section so that it's very easy. Or Atinoke, can you just get that and put in the comment section so that we can also send to the people on Facebook? So yes, so using gamified method is actually a very great way to pass on knowledge to children. And we've had children from across countries sending us their feedback. In fact, one was even saying, I hope this game is not free. It has to be paid. And we're like, we made it at a very subsidized price so that everybody can afford it, because the goal is to ensure that knowledge is shared as much as possible. Okay, so visit www.thesafetychick.com, CHIC without a K. Once you get there, you're going to see the direct link to the game. Everything is right there for you. So please stay in touch. So I'd like to say a very big thank you to everyone who has attended this summit. A big shout out to my safety colleagues. I saw Mr. Dapo Molade earlier. I can see Arese. Of course, Ifechuku has been here. The safety professionals that came in from Osh Africa, from Zambia, from South Africa, from the UAE, thank you so much for coming in here. Aziz Ogundiro, thank you so much. Bolaji Ojo, Faith Babs, I can't even mention everybody's name. Thank you all so much for spending your time with us this Saturday. We said we're going to keep to time, and according to our program, this event is supposed to end at 12:40, and we are done. We are done. We really have to boost the culture of keeping to time. This thing of African time, it's not good for our brand. You know, we want to really be international in the things that we do. So a very big thank you to all the safety professionals in the building, all the amazing speakers, all the friends in the house, all the teammates, the coach, Mr. Rotimi, Eyitayo. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the knowledge that has been shared here today from our amazing speakers. And like we always emphasize on the School Safety Summit, it's not enough for you to just learn and you're so full and you go away. No, what you have learned, share with someone, share on a WhatsApp status, share on social media, use the hashtag School Safety Summit 5 and share. The reason is some people may never attend the summit. They may never get in touch with me, but if they get in touch with you, it's something. And that is what is important. So please share that information, what you have learned, and also begin to say, how can you replicate it in your own terrain, in your own context? What can you begin to do in your house today? What can you begin to do in school? How can you just share this knowledge? It's very, very important that we don't just absorb knowledge, we share with as many people as possible. So thank you all so much for joining us this year. We look forward to seeing you next year at the other edition of the School Safety Summit. But prior to that, we'll be keeping you updated on certain programs that we have and other products that are coming up. So from me to you, it's bye. Thank you so much for joining us for the 5th edition of the annual School Safety Summit.
All right, thank you, everybody. So it's a wrap from our end to you. We've kept to time perfectly well. 1 more minute at this program.
And you can unmute yourselves if you want.
Thank you, everybody.
Guys, it's
Thank
allowed.
you. Every 1 minute, you can go ahead and do that. So we know you joined in. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, well
Thank
done
you.
to the team.
you.
Great summit.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, awesome. See your faces. Oh, it's so nice to see everyone's faces. Okay.
It's a wrap. It was nice doing business to you. If you see you next year, see you next year. Looking forward to a larger crowd.
Yeah.